Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5.
Governor Kate Brown announces non-urgent medical and dental procedures will be allowed to resume starting May 1st. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. But first, there are requirements both before and after clinics reopen. Medical and dental offices must have adequate amounts of PPE before reopening. They must follow strict guidelines on infection control policies from the CDC. Governor Brown says clinics must reduce caseloads in order to maintain social distancing. They also have to be prepared to shut down again if there is a resurgence in coronavirus. They must prioritize procedures and also consider if it's worth the risk for those in high-risk groups. Again, clinics, if prepared, will be able to open up on May 1st. Well, another 4.5 million Americans have filed new unemployment claims, making that 26 million Americans in 5 weeks since businesses started to close. Here in Oregon, 36,700 people filed claims for unemployment benefits last week. Lane County was the third county in the state with the largest number of claims filed that week. The filed claims are still mostly from those who work in restaurants and hotels. Well, since public health measures began March 15th, more than 330,000 Oregonians have filed for unemployment. NBC 16's Lauren Negretti shows us how the South Coast is dealing with unemployment numbers.
In Coos County, more than 3,000 people have filed for unemployment in the last 5 weeks.
We saw the closures really spike the unemployment insurance claims during those first couple of weeks.
State regional economist Guy Tower says most of these numbers are from the accommodation and food services industry.
About 1,000 claims filed in the accommodations and food services, that's hotels and restaurants and bars, a little over 500 in healthcare and social assistance, about 300 claims we've seen in retail trade.
And hundreds of claims have been made by manufacturing and construction workers. Tower expects to see improvements for the healthcare industry as restrictions are lifted on elective surgeries. While there's been an uptick in claims in agriculture, forestry, and fishing, it's not to the degree seen in other sectors. Meanwhile, more information is coming on the pandemic unemployment assistance from the Federal CARES Act. For now, there's no forecast for the total impact of the pandemic.
It's highly dependent on the course of the disease and what happens in terms of the timeline and how restrictions are lifted.
He encourages people to check the State Employment Division website for updates. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Lauren Negretti.
You just keep watching the mailbox and you're just waiting for this money to come. Really hard.
Like Tony McAllister of Springfield, who you just heard, independent workers throughout Oregon are struggling. Now unemployed, he was laid off due to coronavirus restrictions and can't get in touch with the employment department for help. McAllister is a tattoo artist at Anchored Ink in Eugene. He was furloughed in March when the shop closed, and after trying to apply for help online several times, he has yet to successfully sign up to receive unemployment benefits. Right now, there isn't even a fund set up yet for self-employed contractors to get the unemployment benefits they need.
We're pretty much just sitting high and dry, waiting for an order that we can go back and do our jobs to make a living. You know, we don't have any way to make a living besides doing our jobs.
Trouble is, in the rare occasion when he can get through to the employment department, workers redirect him to apply online. But independent contractors aren't able to file online right now either. The employment department's website says coming soon for that category of workers, but it's unclear how soon they'll be able to file. Douglas County leaders are considering a soft reopening of southwestern Oregon. NBC 16's David Ochoa reports from the Douglas County Courthouse with more on the proposed plan.
Yeah, so earlier this week, Douglas County leaders had a phone call with Governor Kate Brown, and the main topic of this call was getting things moving in Oregon again. So the commissioners drafted up a letter to the governor asking for a soft reopening of southwestern Oregon.
The Douglas County Commissioners say they're prepared to reopen the economy carefully and slowly.
We really do feel like that we've passed the peak and that we're headed back in the right direction, and it's time.
Douglas County currently has 23 cases of COVID-19, with 14 of those being recovered. In the letter to the governor, the commissioners say southwestern Oregon has had few cases, and even then, there's been a reduction of reported cases. Boyce says they are prepared for any spikes in the number of cases.
We've talked to the medical community, so we have a pretty good grasp on what the available hospital beds are and ventilators and PPE and all of those things, and we feel like we're in a good spot to start moving the right direction again.
Boyce says they're going off the governor's phase-in plan released earlier this week. He says they're only asking to implement the first phase immediately. They want to open up things like restaurants and hair salons with some restrictions.
Common areas like restrooms and gathering places would still be closed. We're going to have to encourage the use of masks in environments like hair salons and things like that. Those are the types of things that we feel like we can do in a phase 1 reopening.
Boyce says this proposal was prompted by businesses and individuals asking for help.
And one of the most important unknowns is this balance between trying to save people's lives on the medical side and destroying people's lives on the economic side.
The commissioners are hoping to have things opened up on May 1st. They've sent this letter to Curry, Coos, Jackson, and Josephine counties in hopes that they'll sign on with Douglas County. And so far, they do have the signatures for all but Jackson County, who's expected to make a decision Friday morning, the same day that they'll send the letter to Governor Brown. Reporting in Douglas County, I'm David Ochoa.
Oregon added another 68 coronavirus cases and 5 more deaths, bringing the number of cases to more than 2,183 deaths. 1 woman and 4 men died in Multnomah County and another man in Clackamas County. The majority of the cases are in Washington, Multnomah, and Marion counties. There are more than 1,400 cases there. In our region, Benton County stands at 27. Linn County added another 4 cases and now has 67. Lane County added 2 cases, bringing the total to 50. Deschutes County added 4 cases and now has 70. Douglas County added a case, moving up to 24 cases. Coos County added another case as well, making this the 4th positive case from an inmate in the Shutter Creek Correctional Institution. Well, those 2 new cases in Lane County include a woman in her 70s from Eugene Springfield. She is currently recovering at home. The other case is a woman in her 40s living in rural Lane County who is also medically stable at home. She was successfully identified through contact tracing.
This person works at an office, a small office, where we identified an initial case, and then we're able to identify another case. In that circumstance where we're seeing multiple cases, the recommendation really is to test everyone. And so this person was identified through that testing process.
Again, 2 new cases brings the total to 50 cases in Lane County. Lane County Public Health has received more than 2,500 test results from the community. Moving on to a first look at weather. NBC 16's Heather Melendez joins us now. Hey, Heather, another beautiful day out there today.
It was absolutely gorgeous, Jacqueline. Doesn't it feel like Friday? Seeing plenty of sunshine, but really we saw temperatures in the 60s today. And here's a live look out in Roseburg. They managed to see temperatures in the upper 60s, but right now we're seeing plenty of cloud coverage. It's really moving on eastward as we're preparing for our next rain system. But this morning we did manage to see a couple of raindrops out in North Bend and up in Corvallis. We'll continue to see some moisture for tomorrow morning, but for the most part, all of that cloud coverage will allow us to see some lows in the 50s along the I-5 corridor and in the upper 40s for those out in the coast. Today is dry, but we'll start to see some wet sidewalk conditions for tomorrow. We'll wake up with some cloudy skies and even some chance of showers, but I'll let you know what to expect heading into your Friday in my full weather forecast.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Well, a motorcyclist is hospitalized after a crash with a FedEx delivery truck in Springfield this afternoon. Police say the motorcyclist was south on Franklin Boulevard while the FedEx truck made a left and hit the motorcyclist on 19th Avenue. The motorcyclist, Roy Ackerson, was taken to Riverbend. Police say he was not responsive but was breathing. A witness says police were working on the patient for 10 to 15 minutes before medics arrived.
The ambulance finally came and they worked on him for a while, and then they took him away. So I don't know if he wasn't very good.
Police say the delivery driver has been cooperative. This is an ongoing investigation, and of course, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments. Rock the Vote and When We All Vote is designed to ensure young Americans everywhere are able to vote safely during the coronavirus pandemic. For 22 years, Oregon has been one of the few states allowing voters to vote by mail for presidential elections. But Oregon sees thousands of college students from all over the country, and Senator Ron Wyden wants to make it safe for students to register to vote by mail. Last month, he introduced the Natural Disaster and Emergency Ballot Act of 2020, which would allow vote by mail all over the country.
I want to make sure that Oregon Duck and Oregon State Beavers and Portland State Vikings and all the folks who go to community colleges are able to vote and do it safely wherever they are now.
Coming up at 5:30, Senator Wyden teamed up with a former presidential candidate to support the effort. Find out which one and how much it costs to make vote by mail available countrywide. Oregon's presidential primary will still go on as scheduled. The statewide vote-by-mail election will be held on Tuesday, May 19th. If you haven't registered to vote, the county says your deadline to do so is April 28th. Well, OSU students hit the streets again this weekend to provide Corvallis residents with coronavirus test kits. The door-to-door program is among the first in the nation. OSU researchers hope to find out the percentage of people in the community who are carrying the virus but showing no symptoms. Professor Jeff Bethel at the College of Public Health says it's those people that are unknowingly spreading the virus. Bethel says results from those test kits can lead to better coronavirus control measures.
It allows to stop the spread of the disease. If we know the people who are around people that are infected, we can put in public health measures such as quarantine.
Students are working the next 4 weekends to hand out nasal test kits for people to use themselves. 960 samples will be collected from randomly selected neighborhoods. Now, you aren't required to take part if your household is selected. Coming up at 5:30, NBC 16's Tom Adams joins us live in the studio to tell us more about long-term implications from the study's findings. Now, for the latest local news, of course, make sure to visit our website, NBC16.com, our Facebook page at KMTR News, and download our app, KMTR News, on your mobile device.